Happy 2026, everybody! It's time to go ahead and get doing what we love to do most on this part of the channel. Rated TTRPG with us. Well,
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts. I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. So until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see matter of fact.
Now listen here, Tech Gremlins. We're not starting this on the first stream of the year. Come on. We're not doing this. Welcome on in, everybody, to Rated TTRPG with us. Would you like to write? Well, a TTRPG with us. I have my co-author, Baka of the Uncanny Universes, in the background, and we're catching up with all of his notes today for the first leg into the Myrna Annals. Hello, Uncanny Master. How are you?
Universes, plural now.
Universes, because I know you run more than one campaign. Cat Louise.
Not at the moment. I am between campaigns at the moment, but the cosmology is there's only one Uncanny Universe, but it connects to all universes.
There you go, because everything is sus around you. That's why we were throwing you out of locks of everything.
Like,
so, a TTRPG.
Airlocks. Oh, yeah. We all remember that old chestnut from 5 years ago.
It had t-shirts, dude. Come on.
I know. I bought one. It's around here somewhere. It's under this pile of clothes.
TTRPG, Sarah, is a tabletop role-playing game. So to catch all of you new people up, we have some people from my streaming sprints coming over to hang out with us. To catch you all up, we've been working on this for what, a year and change, I guess you could say? Sounds about right. Baka is the math brain of this operation.
More or less.
More or less.
I guess I'm the logic side. And speaking of which, what if I told you I already found a flaw in the system that I that I proposed to you? What if I already found a mathematical kink in the matrix?
Why are you doing this to me? You know I have dyscalculia.
I think I have that a little bit too. I mix my hundreds and my thousands, and that's why I'm probably never going to be a full-on pharmacist, because I might kill someone swapping those two.
You're not in compounding for a reason. So What's the error, bro?
All right. So picture, if you will.
Picture, if we will. Oh God.
This proposed. This is how I saw it when I made the actual table. So I was coming up with the different tiers of play. And coming up with the max ranks we put in skills, proficiencies, defenses, whatever. So the pros tier, which is the first 5 levels, I was putting max rank 2. And then this champion class, we're going to give them 3 defenses they can put defense points into. If you're with me so far. All right, so let's say level 1, they decide they're going to put 2 points in poise. So the poise is maxed out. Level 1. Level 2, they decide to max out their reflex. Level 3, they try to max out their resilience. Level 4, now what? Oops. So I might have to work on that a little bit, because I realized that they get way more points than the system would allow. Whether or not we allow them to put defense points in the other defenses, say 2-to-1, similar to 3.0 D&D, did that for cross-class skills.
That's what my brain was thinking. It's like you knew.
or some other proposal. I had another proposal I didn't prepare in writing, but we can still go over that if time allows. There was some other cool stuff I wanted to mention, but since you mentioned Math Brain, I wanted to let you know I detected the glitch in the Matrix before we started. I was like, ah, damn it.
Thank you. And you made a note you're going to go back and fix it, which pretty much also uber matters as well.
Right.
I have a question about the cross-classing, though, because we've talked about this a couple of times now. Are we introducing cross-classing in this because it's the base manual for which the whole tabletop rule base is set, or are we waiting on cross-classing to the second?
If we
DLC is the wrong word. What's the word I'm looking for? Expansion.
If it comes up at level 4, it's probably going to be a core mechanic. I have other proposals that might be. I know you wanted things to be less math intensive, but I have other proposals, like just cutting the number of points in half would make it so not every single class has the same bonuses. Because the one thing
I'd make it
focus on
also that would also help the gameplay experience, because for some people who like the math, certain ones they'll gravitate towards or won't be as easy for them versus someone like me who's just there for the storytelling.
And if we want to put math intensive powers that are optional in the game, for those math nerds like me, fine, go nuts, have at it, do your sacred geometry, do your math wizard nonsense, by all means. But maybe for the core, let's make it a little bit more simple so everyone can kind of grasp what's going on. Just cutting the number of points you get in half might be a simple solution as well. Basically, because one thing I didn't realize designing your system was I was cutting like the max ranks of your game basically in half from Dungeons & Dragons 3.0, 3.5, where the max ranks was like 20, 23, depending on who you asked. And yours is going to be 10 with the same amount of levels. So maybe just giving them less points might be an answer, and it will help flesh out some of the different characters, because then not all of the champions would have max poise, max reflex, max resilience. There'll be some difference between, like, say, if a class or a party had like 2 champions and one of them decided to go more like dodgy and maxed out reflex, whereas one guy wanted to be a tough guy, just sit there and take all the punishment and not be affected by status effects, they could go resilience. And then, heaven forbid, with class abilities, archetype powers, or general feats, general powers, they could flesh out those defenses or other stuff about their character however they see fit. So give them a little bit more options to flesh out their character from like any other character, not just just picking a class and a subclass in a background, which we're still doing, by the way.
Right.
Oh, I guess you got some more questions.
Nope, I clarified them. I took care of them. So next item on your list, bro.
Next item. Okay, so I went back and tinkered a couple things. Step 2, like, what are the rules on the original document, the January updates? I was going to differentiate the different tiers. So the tier 1's pros. So that's where adventures normally start off, and I misspelled humble. God darn it. It's like,
don't feel bad, I did too.
Like humble character. This is where humble characters usually begin their journeys. Tier 2 is going to be ballad. This is your character's first time leaving an impression of the world. Powers that be started to take notice. Then there's tier 3, which is epic. Grand tales spring up about your character's exploits for good or ill. People are talking. Legend even if your character were to disappear, most people have felt the weight of your actions, and the world will never forget you. And then Tier 5 myth. Everyone has heard a version of your story in some shape or form. Small details may change, but the story shape the narrative the world tells future generations. And going forward, like the different tiers of play, if you were to increase your tier from tier 1 to tier 2, give you that character 2 increases to their traits. If the trait is +2 or lower, it increases it by 2. Otherwise, it would only increase by 1. So we would kind of gate like people's ability, like their traits at +4. It's like you can get the +4 just fine. Then after that, it would get harder. So that's kind of how they did it in Starfinder, where you got a bunch of ability score increases, but after I think it was 16, it was like, okay, each ability score increases only by 1 instead of 2. So I was pretty much adapting a version of that where they'll still get ability score increases, and they can either increase their low scores or they can shoot the moon, but it's going to take more effort. So that was one of my proposals.
And that lets them choose to kind of build horizontally or vertically too on their skills. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because of course they'll increase their skills, increase other things dependent on their attributes. Because similar to other D20 systems, everything is going to derive from their traits, similar to ability scores deriving to skills or their defenses, their attacks. And since I'm including spellcasting rules, which I understand you're excited about, key modifiers for spellcasters, which I decided, instead of calling them spellcasters, I was going to go with the term magicians. So anytime you see the word spellcaster, feel free to edit it and change it to magician, because I thought that would be a more traditional term.
And the way that word has changed over time would be fitting to the series too.
Exactly. Like people think of magicians, they think primarily stage performers, the illusionists or whatever. And they don't even go by magicians anymore. They prefer illusionists. So just to get away from, like, no, we don't use real magic. We use illusion and deception. It's in the name. Illusionists. Let's see. That being said, I'll have to go back and change all of these spellcasters to magicians.
That's what editing. That's what editing me plans to handle later is the continuity fixes. So we're not going to worry about those in the draft.
All right. So
our next page or section is what then?
Yeah. So I was also going to go over like 2 types of magicians. There was just a regular magician who has just the standard pieces, which I'll go over a little bit later. So spellcasting is going to have 2 things to sink proficiency points into. Number 1, it's going to be a source. The source of their magic, which will have like the kind of spells they can learn and or manifest. And then 2, the tradition, which is the method they use to pull that magic and create their manifestations, and that will determine what slots they get that they can prepare spells. And then there was going to be the dedicated magician, which is going to be a decision they make at level 1 or whenever they get the magic. If they're just a regular magician, then they only get a maximum ranks in either their tradition or their source equal to their tier, as opposed to making it double. If they're a dedicated magician, they can go up to the normal max rank, which is twice their tier. But in exchange, they go down 1 vitality die. So this is going to differentiate basically your paladins from your clerics, your like spell swords from your wizards. Is how much they want to actually devote themselves to magic. And then it just makes it so they have less vitality to work with.
And that
So-
makes sense also of what tool is or is not being used. Depending on that class, the paladin has the tool or the cleric does not.
Right. And then they can spend those proficiency points on either weapons or armor or what have you, as opposed to their magic. So, as opposed to like a dedicated like wizards, if they say, if we give them like 5 proficiency points over 5 levels, they're going to spend 4 of them on most likely their source and their tradition, and then they'll have 1 other proficiency points. Like, I don't know, I guess I'll put it in like using staves in case I need to hit someone with a stick, you know, or something like that. Whereas, say, a paladin would put 1 in their source, 1 in their tradition, and then it's like, well, I got 3 more to spend on my weapons and maybe an armor. So there you go. If we scroll down a little bit, I think I was fleshing out more magic in, let's see, scrolling down part 5. Yeah, 5I, where I was going over the different sources. There we go. All right. So the magic source is the source of magic will determine what spells a magician can choose from. Increasing the ranks of a magical source will eventually allow a magician to choose spells of higher circles. So basically, similar to how it is in both Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, you're going to have 10 circles of magic. Similar to basically starting off at cantrips, going all the way down to 9th level spells. That's how it's going to be. Most spellcasters will only have access to 5 circle magic at the highest tier. Dedicated spellcasters can go all the way down to level 10. And that's going to be the most devastating spells that get your hands on. Probably the kind that, if you know the lore of Dungeons & Dragons, Mistra banned 10th level spells because some jackass decided to create floating cities.
PG-13, this applies, please, sir.
Some jerk decided to make floating cities on the top of mountains. So he lifted a mountain into the air, flipped it over, built a city on it, and then decided that wasn't enough. That he was going to create a crown to basically absorb all magic into him. He's going to become a god. And that apparently destroyed the field of magic, killed the god of magic, had his city plummet to the ground, and everyone died. And then when the god of magic came back, she's like, well, that's not happening again. For those of you who know the lore of D&D and how they're like, no more 10th level spells because that was stupid.
And this would make sense because we're at the point in the overall arcing plot where humans are offered the chance to become part of accessing magic, but they lose it by the end of this arc for several expansions. So good point out there.
And that could be a restriction you have on your game is no dedicated spellcasters because you don't have access to that level of magic. That could be something the storyteller prohibits based on where they are in the story. The different sources of magic I try to eke out. First one being astral. This is magic pulled from realms beyond the mortal world. Most diverse of magic sources, there are limitations on it based on how far away the source of magic is from the magician. So this is your arcane magic. This is pulling magic from other realms to create magical effects here in the material world. And that could be anything from you're pulling magic from the stars, pulling them from different planes of existence. You're pulling them from different energy concepts or whatever, stuff like that. Then there's faith. These miracles are handed down from a higher realm. The sources do not have to be from a deity, but from a source in the magician's belief. These personal connections may not bring forth spells that are particularly flashy, but they have dedicated purposes for specific circumstances. Primarily, it's going to be healing and magic that enhances one's abilities because of the personal connection they have to the caster. And this is basically going to be similar to divine magic from, again, Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and other D20 based systems. Then there's primals / nature. We can determine whether or not which term we wanted to use. This is the natural world, has potential magic, few practitioners that seek it. The source has geographical barriers. A magician would have to be physically present to draw from those sources, and some locations may not have enough resources to pull from, so they may be fiercely guarded by those that do. And since there are Fae in your game, this might be their their default magic.
This is kind of their niche.
Yeah.
Shall we say?
Then your setting is in a desert where oases are going to be few in between for those kind of natural energies. That being said, not that a desert can't provide like a primal energy. It just might not be like the flourishing, life-bringing energy of, say, a forest, of a river, of an ocean. It might be more like devastating, like heat.
We're in the Nile Delta. In the Nile Delta, so a lot of it actually could even be how close is the nearest water, which of course is the Nile herself in that regard. Yeah.
Exactly. So whatever spells you may have access to may be dependent on what kind of environment you're in, and it might change if you traveled, or that could be another mechanic that we focus on with primal nature. And then I threw this in because you mentioned blood magic, forbidden source. Due to cultural taboos or local laws, these sources can either be frowned upon or outright illegal. Drawing from these sources are usually hidden to the public, and magicians do what they can to only practice these sorts of magic behind closed doors. So I figured blood magic, the source would be considered forbidden, and they would have different spells. There could be other forbidden or taboo types of spells, which I did include, or traditions, that I did include a few ideas I came up with on the chart document I gave you, with a combination of source traditions, what kind those would look like arcane community. Well, we haven't gone over the traditions yet, but I figured that would be like the genre of magic. Going to the tradition part, though, on the other document. I know I'm dancing around a little bit. Magic traditions determine how a magician takes the magic from the source and manifests their spells into the world. A magician may have access to a number of spells equal to their tradition's rank, plus the key trait for that tradition. And, of course, powers or abilities might change what that would be, but I put here like the default of what your key attributes would be for that particular tradition. Like, first of all, community. These traditions work best when people come together to perform a manifestation to create a better result. When a community-based magician manifests a spell, any number of characters may use a reaction to contribute to a manifestation to create community points. These points the magician can spend on enhancements to the spells that they have access to, either from the spell itself or from other powers they have gained from their archetype. Magician also has a pool of points equal to their spirit plus ranks in the tradition, so they can add these manifestations, add to their manifestations on their own. Usually, manifestation cannot receive enhancements that cost more than their total ranks in the tradition. Powers of the items can change these limitations. So basically, I was designing a community tradition that if other characters like used one of their actions while you're doing a manifestation, you can add enhancements for free. Like, for example, say there's a charm spell you want to cast, and you have the community tradition, and if you get enough people to join in on the casting, then it might have like a multiple enhancement where you can hit multiple characters with that charm spell. So kind of like the difference between a charm person, charm monster, or a charm mass, where, you know, it could split among different targets. Stuff like that.
Thinking not just the bard or bards singing together, but like if you join in with the bard, you give them a little, they give you a little extra.
Yeah. So basically, like, other members of the party could join in on the casting if they have the actions to, like, either clap their hands, stomp their feet, do a battle cry, like, hell yeah, heck yeah. And that could enhance the spell. Heaven forbid that your Bardy Bard does this in front of, like, a crowd forming at the village that they're defending, and they all just, like, do a huzzah. And this guy's like, oh, look at all these community points I have.
Or they turn it into karaoke hour.
Turn to karaoke, and they're just blasting magic, which, granted, could cause problems, because I know a lot of different campaigns kind of frown upon just blasting magic here and there.
I mean, if you have a reason, you have a reason, dude.
You have a reason, you have a reason. It's just whether or not it's a beneficial spell or a hostile spell. But, that's going to be like, what kind of magic is that? Could you stop, depending on where you are. Like, if you're at a bard college and everyone knows you and they know what your spells are because they're around you all the time, they're like, heck yeah, that's a cool spell. Like, if you're surrounded by a bunch of, like, villagers who hadn't seen a magician in their life, they're like, I don't know. Makes my bones feel kind of weird. Could you stop that?
So, you had to bring pitchforks. So, research tradition, then, of course, would be acuity. I like how you related this back to the ones that were the most logical, because that's where I would have gone to.
Yeah. So, research being acuity, these are there are those that study magic, that unravel mysteries, writing their findings down, copy for others to use later. Research-based magicians can learn spells over the normal limits of the tradition, but they have to prepare them in advance. And switching spells takes, I didn't know if we were going to call it a short rest, but like something where basically similar to a short rest was like, okay, let's do some downtime for like half an hour, however long we want to determine that rest is, and they can swap out their spells. Research-based magician can swap out any number of spells equal to their acuity, which I thought that would be a good placeholder there, as opposed to, oh, you want to change out one spell? That's a short rest. You want to change two spells? That's two short rests. Deal with it, Well, I figure smarter characters would be able to swap out more spells, and maybe we can have abilities and feats that make it easier, or maybe not take as long. Maybe make it so like once per day they can do it as one of their actions. They could just be like flipping through the spell books, like, there's gotta be something for this. It's like, heaven forbid. Let's see. Research-based magician can also do the preparations. So while the community tradition, you have other people join in and enhance your spells, the research, the wizard, they get in their tower and they just look at their spell book for a bit. They're like, but what if I did this? And
they literally go hermit mode. Love it.
They ponder the orb for an hour or two, and then they can enhance their spells that way. And the dumb thing I was thinking, which I don't know how out of hand this would be, is they can keep doing it, but every enhancement would like double the time. And then it would double it again. They just keep adding enhancements.
What's the limit, though? Because you know how some people are going to munchkin that.
Well, we could do the same thing with community, where they can only add enhancements up to their rank. So starting out, they can only do it twice.
Okay.
So it doesn't get too out of hand. At the same time, if they build a tower and they get all the silly abilities to do it, it's like we couldn't let them run wild. See how crazy it gets. The downside is if they have to unprepare that spell and prepare something else, it ruins the preparations.
I was going to say that's wasted materials, wasted time. Yeah. And we know how people who grind materials feel about losing their materials. That's going to be lovely.
No, I can imagine some wizards like has to unprepare that spell. They're like, but my research. It's like, it's like, okay, I'll prepare a different spell. Gosh darn.
Yes, I love this. Legacy traditions next.
Yeah, so legacy tradition. We might have to come up with a different name because this is basically, it's going to be a bloodline. And I was thinking legacy would differentiate it from blood magic. And I made it zeal because it's going to be based on their physical body. And magic is handed down by blood ties, traditions, or oaths. Legacy-based magician manifests their spells through their physical bodies or charms or fetishes on their person, depending on the origin of their legacy. Again, trying to come up with a different type of method other than you're just bored with it. Pushing manifestations through their physical bodies can be exhausting. Their enhancements cost them a d6 of damage for each enhancement. Magicians gain number of legacy points equal to their ranks, plus zeal, to reduce the amount of damage they can take. As their charms burst into flames or the materials are snapped to dull the pain of over-channeling.
And that sets up for us to be able to easily include things like blood frenzy and whatnot on the vampire end too, yeah.
Yep. There was that too, especially if we went for blood magic. One of the examples I came up with, there's a few I put down here, but one of the ideas that came up for blood magic was making it forbidden legacy. So you're hurting yourself to do your weird spells, but I also saw you could do forbidden research, where you're basically like setting up the rituals. And it's basically, do you want to hurt other people or do you want to hurt yourself? It's like what it comes down to.
That's a valid question to be asking, honestly. Depending, it's all about intention, yeah.
Yes, and we could do both. They can put ranks in 2 different traditions, and then they won't have access to higher level spells, but they'll have options.
Gotcha.
And then this is where I was explaining, because it was really funny the other day. One of my pharmacists was asking what the game plan was this week, and I told him about their show. And he's like, "Oh, like in this game, is there an option to be like a pharmacist?" Like, funny you ask, because I did come up with an alchemist. It was the first thing. We have
alchemists
alphabetically, and I really did pat myself in the back thinking about this. Natural source research tradition. Pick a plant, put it in a cauldron, write down the recipe. Pat myself on the back. Good job. You figured it out. You reversed engineered alchemy to its simplest components. Huzzah.
Welcome to Herbology 101. If you make yourself sick, it's your fault.
Gee, it's almost like I had to know this garbage going into pharmacy.
No, like, not at all.
Like, here's the history of pharmacy. Did you know we just put plants in a cauldron, mixed them together, and see whether or not you died? Yes.
That's how a lot of folk men and women figured it out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. There was a lot of trial and error, mostly error.
There still is.
Yeah.
So with this, I have a lot of notes that I'm going to end the off screen. I meant to give you notes last time, and I thought I sent them.
I might have missed them. I'm sorry.
No, this one was on me. I was like, nope, I totally didn't send that because it's still sitting in my outbox as a draft. That's on me. I'm going to take in the back end some of the notes for the magical classes that I pulled from my book Bible, bookbinder, world building notes from season 1, and I'll chuck those items in. So for some of those of you in the chat, what originally started this all was I used RPGs to write my books. So now we're writing an RPG for my books. And he's giving me all the nerdy, yummy bits. And this part here's my favorite part because it's a lot of the world building that we as authors don't get to talk to the readers about. So as far as like building this goes, how in depth, Baka, do you think we need to go for the first manual then? Again, keeping in mind we have 8 others after this to build on.
Well, I think for the most part, I think having a little bit of flavor is nice because that's what Shadowrun does, there's a couple of stories that's littered throughout the core rulebook itself to kind of flesh out like how people talk in that world. You do have the benefit that you're basing this on history. So that is something that could be generally known about, and you could build upon that by putting maybe a couple stories here and there in the book itself. I think going in depth on certain aspects of a character could definitely be broadened in future books, and then just going with the bare basics, what people can interpret on their own and build upon themselves. Because what I was thinking of doing for like the monster manual, I was thinking that it could be written in the viewpoint of the hunters, like what they.
I love it because there is a hunters campaign. I love it.
Exactly. So it'd be based on what the hunters know about monsters and like how they know how to combat it, and that's how they have the stats. That's how they have like weaknesses and stuff like that. But I was also thinking for variants, they wouldn't have the stat plot. They would just have brief descriptions of variants of that creature, and then the fun part would be storytellers out there building those creatures themselves and seeing what they get. Because that was the one thing I did for my game. It was a Pathfinder 1E, and it was a monster game. And man, I came up with my own like nonsense creatures, and it got pretty bonkers. Where I had like giant death scorpions made into juju zombies. And I gave those to my necromancer. I was like, here, have fun with those. And she had them like push through a portal into basically heaven. And she was going around poisoning the absolute garbage out of these angels. They were going like, what is happening? Like
she was Genova from Final Fantasy VII?
I guess. I don't remember Genova. Was that the company? No,
that's Sephiroth's mom.
No, that was Sephiroth's mom. Okay, never mind. I didn't know she had those giant zombie scorpions. I just thought it was a cool thing for my necromancer to have because I couldn't get my necromancer to necromance that much.
Except you brought in fragments of angelic beings, and I'm like, that's basically the plot of Sephiroth's life, dude. No, anyway.
No, they were just there defending their home, and my PCs were basically invading a goddess's summer home that had angels there, and the angels were like, what the heck is this? And then one of them gets like caught in a giant undead scorpion getting stung, and it's going like, this sucks. Like, I'm not making any of my saving throws. I'm not breaking out. And my necromancer wizard is just laughing like a mad woman, which is funny because she's an actual medical doctor, and she's going like, and I'm like, oh Lord, and this is what I wanted. And then I turned into a fae.
And then I turned into a fae.
Then I turned into a fae.
That's an opening line to a book. So, any other items to cover from your end today? Did you?
Well, other than the examples that I gave for the mixture of the sources and tradition, like I already went over blood magic being forbidden research, maybe some legacy bards. I was also proposing we could do an arcane source community, or we can come up with, like, say, a performance source, maybe emotions, and then we can come up with other cool stuff from there. Like research emotions could be like an enchantress, like specifically like a wizard for just controlling and manipulating people.
Developmentally, though, for the society we're looking at, would that be something better to hold for a later expansion?
Exactly, but it was something like it's a proposal to a proposal, basically. And then I differentiated druids and rangers. They might be very similar, except rangers wouldn't be dedicated magician, but druids would be. I also proposed maybe a location-based tradition. Again, we could go on that in future installments as well. Sorcerers
actually, that one might make sense. If not in this one, then the very next expansion.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with the collapse of Roman Empire type things soon.
So here's the thing. We could expand on location-based traditions. I'm not 100% sure how fun it will be if you're a player that's going from place to place, because it might be a little bit too rigid for an adventurer. It might be one thing if it was an adventure that you stayed at a particular location and you defended that location and you used threshold magic to defend that location. It'd be another thing if you're constantly traveling far away from your source of magic. It's like there will be some challenges on making that fun and interactive for players that we'll have to deal with at some point. So just bear that in mind if you want to
We're
make
getting into phylactery magic soon. We'll be okay in an expansion. That's what that tells me.
That is a good point. Phylactery magic. Yeah, we might have to figure out how we fit that square peg in that hole too.
That was my connector of, okay, we need to do this later because it needs to come with the other thing. Awesome.
And then if you looked at Legacy, I basically went sorcery the whole way down. Sorcery. It's just sorcery.
Which is befitting to match the series when your line of royals tend to be magician, sorcerer, mage in some way. So that's very logical.
I couldn't think of any other magical tradition that would be passed down. So it's just sorcery.
That works.
Of course, wizard being arcane research.
So, any other notes to add in?
So I was just thinking emotion research. That could be like enchanter, enchantress. And then location, emotion could be like witch, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I see where you're getting with that differentiation now.
As for forbidden location, I'm not sure. Maybe like diablerie, because at that point you're getting your source from like forbidden plains, I guess.
You have a little bit of that because of the astral and the realm walking, but also at the time this is an era where oracles are a thing.
Yeah, but
so it's also
again,
allowing to play on the cultural context of the time for that too.
It would be the location itself. The physical location would be forbidden. So I guess it would just be another cultist. You just build a little cult like lair, and you're just like, I'm gonna build a cult here, and the cult nonsense is gonna start and end here, and anyone else that comes in here is going to regret it.
Hence why so many RPG video games are obsessed with that as like a side quest, because they're everywhere. Alrighty, I love these notes. Like I said, I have homework this time. He did homework last time. If you don't have anything else to cover, I think the only thing we have to cover then is another date and me getting homework together to cover for next time.
Sure.
Do you know your schedule? As I'm like, what Saturday do I give up?
Let me bring up my thing, because I don't think I have it for... I think I only have it for the next, like, 3 weeks.
Okay. So, for those of you who are newer to this one, we meet up about once a month, mostly because of how both of our schedules intermesh. If we don't always have a schedule known right away, I'll pop it up when we get it scheduled. We have done every day of the week, I think, so far. Dude, if you want to play test this to anyone listening, live or replay, we're going to eventually play test it live, is my hope. So heads up.
We just need, I think, to bang out like
a lot more
the actual like abilities of the characters, get the archetypes, and finally sit down and figure out the paths, and then I think we can start actually doing character like play testing. I've just been kind of waffling back and forth.
Well, we also have multiple documents, and I think synthesizing those documents is going to fix the start to a lot of what you're mentioning.
Yeah. I don't know. I just keep forgetting to look up the big mammoth document. I'm like, I'll just make a new document and work from there. Blank page syndrome and stuff like that.
This is what happens when you have somebody who is highly thinks she's organized, working with someone who claims he's not. We somehow make a whole organized person.
No, like look at my room. This is chaos incarnate.
I was
Like,
about to say, do you not see that his is
I think
chaos of disorder and mine is chaos of order?
I've been living in this house for 5 years, and I still have boxes I haven't unpacked.
That sounds like you. Anyway.
And, you can't see the mountain of Diet Pepsi boxes I have stacked up.
I thought you were making armor out of them.
Like, that would be funny. Cardboard armor. Wouldn't be the first time.
Wouldn't be the first time. It's a cheap medium to get started with for learning how. So on that note, y'all.
The only week I know next month is I have vacation planned for the first week of February. So that's the only time I know.
That actually might work perfectly. That might work perfectly because I go to Mythicon the following week and would be unavailable for about 2 weeks.
So February 2nd. I mean, I'm off that week, though. Apparently, I'm going to be hosting my ex-girlfriend's birthday party that weekend. So the 6th, 7th, and 8th, I'll be busy. Yeah,
well,
I know.
I have double down.
I told you it was a strange week. I told you when we started this has been a strange week for me. So,
I can do the 2nd.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
February 2nd, I'm off.
So I'll have my homework done by then and report in on. And everybody, thank you for hanging with us. Thank you for doing this with me, bro. I have a book I need to send with you. Johnsy got a signed copy of it first before you. Sorry.
Well, thank you for inviting me to this project. I already have that pharmacist that asked me. He already wants a copy of this book when it's done. Like, I guess he wants to play along with us.
We're doing a Kickstarter. Heads up, y'all.
Yeah, he was supposed to join us, but I guess you got members only on right now, so he might not be able to talk.
Oh, or subscribers only, probably.
Yeah, subscribers only. Like he thought he was gonna come into the backstage and like chat with us. I'm like, do you not know how uTorrent vlog works, brother? It's like, no.
There's the yeah. So on that note, thank you,
Mike,
bro.
if you're out there, I
here.
am calling you out, you silly goose.
And as the King of Gooses signs off, thank you all for being here with us. Take care of yourself. See you later, y'all. Oh, 10-hour stream tomorrow for members only.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be